What's up, everybody? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfail, the bearded dwarven princess, and today we're here to discuss whether or not you should play EverQuest 1 Live or EverQuest TLP servers, the progression servers, or maybe you should play Project 1999. I don't know. We're going to talk about it today. I am joined by Luke and hang on. Yeah, Luke, Leia, and it looks like Mary's back there with Luke as well, getting a bath. Kittens, man. Craziness. Anyway, which version of EverQuest should you play if you're going to play EverQuest? That's a good question to ask, but it's also a question that's deeply rooted in what type of gameplay do you like? Are you someone who wants to play a game that has a hardcore death penalty, XP loss, uh, item loss, so on and so forth? Do you want to play a game that only can be done if you play with a group? And has long travel times and no quality of life features and so on and so forth. You're probably going to want to play on the P99 server because the emulator servers provide those unique aspects of the game that the TLP servers and the live servers don't cater to. Because even on the TLP servers, we have quality of life features like a map and auto abilities, like being able to set your kick up to auto use that ability so you're not having to manually kick the click button, kick the click, manually click the kick. Say that 10 times fast. You're not having to manually click the kick button over and over and over. You could set that up to automatically do it. You also have the extended target window in TLP. So many quality of life features on TLP. And then if you go to the live servers, there are even more TLP features and quality of life features, including the story section where you can open up the actual quest guides and it shows you where to go and what to do and storylines that you can pursue so that you can flesh out your character and figure out where to go and how to do certain things. More fast travel through Planes of Knowledge books and so on and so forth. So, I mean, you're getting basically three different versions of EverQuest. If you could strip out the lore component for a minute and just think about these games as being three different separate games, that's essentially what you have here. Because even though they do share the same world and they share the same setting and the same zones and the same, for the most part, same layout, they're not the same games. P99 is the game as it was 20 years ago. TLP is the modern version, stripped down a little bit to sort of replicate a launch experience as best as possible. And then Live features all of the updates they've made over the past, 24 years or however long that game's been out now. So let's get back to the basics of what do you want to get out of EverQuest. So I'm playing two different versions right now. I am playing on Project 1999 on Friday nights with a static group. Myself, Nathan Napalm, Bounty Code Sparrow, the Great Vendini, and Kel the Reaver. And then I play TLP with myself, Maduros, Kel the Reaver, Helena, Nim, and Davaris. Now, I'm satisfying two different itches. I'm scratching two different itches by playing two different versions of EverQuest. Now, I don't play live, and there's a specific reason for that. I just don't have enough time. But also because most of the people that I play with want to experience somewhat of a nostalgic trip back in time. Most people aren't really interested in pursuing any of the content after Planes of Power. So for the experience of TLP, we can go in and we can have a more relaxed, casual version of EverQuest that we remember from back when we used to play, and we can pursue the type of content that we like at a more relaxed pace where it's much more forgiving than it was back in the day. Then when we play Project 1999, it's very much something we're doing as sort of a Friday night D&D type of thing. We're getting together with 6 friends together, and we're going into a game that's very old and it lacks a lot of quality of life features, and it can be very frustrating at times. And at least for myself, I'm not playing it for the challenge because, to be honest with you, there's not a lot of challenge in EverQuest P99. It's mostly a lack of quality of life features that make it feel challenging. Um, but we're mostly doing that for a sense of kind of slowed down pacing because everything on P99 is slow. Slow, 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 slow. You might be able to get a level every few hours on live, and definitely on TLP. If you're running XP pots and there's a server bonus going on at the same time, you can easily get 7, 8, 9, even 10 levels in a several hour session if you're in a good group and you're doing a dungeon that has an existing experience bonus on top of all of that. But if you go to Project 1999, there's no XP pots, there's no bonuses, and you might take 2 sessions or 3 sessions to get through a single level. So we enjoy that once a week experience on Project 1999 because it's a slowed down pacing. We enjoy the TLP because it offers us a more relaxed, casual environment to explore and kind of go back and have that, scratch that nostalgia itch for the content that we love the most, which was basically EverQuest Classic all the way up to the Planes of Power expansion. Now, how do those compare to live, and how do I pick between the two? We're going to get into that. Before we do, this is the perfect point where I like to say, hey, if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you can get more like this. And don't forget to support the channel with a super thanks. Keeps me fed, keeps the lights on, keeps the internet paid, keeps the cats fed. And so far, this channel's been doing very well. We are community supported, and you can go above and beyond that by joining in anytime I do a live stream, which is every morning and every night. And you can do super chats and stickers during live streams to support the channel. You can also join a member as a member of the Adventurers Guild down there for $2.99 a month. And of course, there's also patreon.com/wandering hermits, which is all about that world map behind me, where my brother, my wife, and I are building the world of The Weave and the Void, which is a 5th edition tabletop setting, a point and click adventure game, and a book series, all unfolding in real time through Patreon. So, if you're going to be playing EverQuest, I've given you some examples of the type of gameplay you can expect to see between the two. But what about community? This is a very important component when it comes to making the decision about which version of EverQuest you might want to play. There are some realities of each one of these servers that you need to understand if you're going to go in there and have a good time. Project 1999 is very end game heavy. That means the vast majority of the players who play those servers, whether it's P99 green or blue, are at the cap and they're focused on raiding. And most of the people who have alts have those twinked to the high heavens. If you're looking to go in for the first time and you've never played EverQuest before, or you've never experienced P99 and you're wanting to go do that for the first time, you're probably not going to find a group. There are around, as of this recording, around 800 people who play P99 green, about 600 who play blue. And trying to find a regular group of people to group with in a given zone is going to be next to impossible because most people roll around in static groups, which means you yourself would need to have a static group to get the most out of it, which is why I would not recommend playing P99 unless you have a static group of friends. How do you get a static group of friends? Well, the way I always did it in the past before I had my own gaming community was I would go to the forums, I would go to Reddit, I would go to all the various places where people would hang out that like that game, and I would make a post and say, this is who I am, this is what I play, this is my time slots. I would like to find other people who can meet those time slots. Is there anyone interested? Usually, I can't think of a single time that didn't work for me. That's a great place to start. Other thing is look for a good guild and find somebody who's playing in your time slot. But P99 is going to be difficult to find a guild because most of them are focused on raiding. Now, TLP is a little bit different, but you're also dealing with something that's very time sensitive. So we're currently playing on the Yellowknife server, and as of this recording, we are midway through the Kunark expansion, which means Velius is coming just around the corner in a couple weeks. Or in a few weeks, I should not a couple weeks, in a few weeks. So how do should I get involved in a TLP server? And I've had this question get asked a lot during my live streams when we're streaming EverQuest, and I always answer it with this. If you want to play a TLP server, again, it's going to come down to whether or not you can find a static group and or whether or not you're going to go to the hot zones where people like to play. It's also very time sensitive in the sense that during the first few weeks of any given expansion, there's going to be a ton of activity in the lower level zones of that expansion. That was great for Classic and Kunark because both of those games had low level content for players who were starting for the very first time. Kunark does not have content for new players, or excuse me, Velius. Velius does not have content for new players. Velius starts off in the 30s with, was it Iceclad, where the Tower of Frozen Shadows is. it's a little tricky then because you have to have a character already leveled up to 30 to be able to take advantage of that. So with the TLP servers, I always tell people if you're going to play on a TLP server, you really need to get in at the beginning, because if you can get in at the beginning, there are usually 15, 20, sometimes as many as 30 versions of a zone open instances, and you can find lots and lots and lots and lots of groups. It's very easy to find groups during those first like 3 weeks of an expansion dropping. But once you move beyond the 3 weeks, because it only takes about 2 to 3 weeks of progressively playing the TLP server to level a character up to 50. I'm not a hardcore player, but I play about 3 nights a week, 3 good sessions, like about 3 to 4 hours each session, 3 times a week, and I'm on my third set of character. I'm on my third character, I should say. I leveled up basically about every 2 weeks. Um, During the first run, we leveled up about 2 to 3 weeks, first set of characters, 2 to 3 weeks, second set of characters, and now our static group is on the third set of characters on our way to max level with those. And of course, we're running XP pots and everything else. Um, once you're outside of that third week, that 3 week window, most of the population is already going to be off, and they're focused on raiding or the end game, and it's going to be difficult for you to find groups unless you have, again, a static group or a group of friends that you can play with. Live, on the other hand, Live is very easy to solo because Live has mercenaries. So if you go play on Live, you can get a mercenary and you could do all of the content that you want to do by yourself. For the most part, you are going to be restricted to overland stuff. There's some dungeons you won't be able to do, but a mercenary makes life very, very easy on the live servers because you can pick a mercenary, you can go forth and have a lot of fun, and not have to stress too much about finding a group until you need a group to do specific pieces of content, and then once again find a good guild or find some people on your server or forums that you can group with on a regular basis. I always suggest people go to forums and Reddit to try to find other people in their same time slots because it's worked for me in the past. So in any case, hopefully that gives you a little breakdown of which version of EverQuest you should play based on what each one offers, as well as the type of experience you're going to have on each one with the community. Take it as you will. I'd love to hear your thoughts below if you have them. Safe gaming, everybody, and I'll see you in the next episode.